I think I'm alive. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you all are doing well. My name is Dr. Nakhan. I'm clinical psychologist, psychotherapist, and speech therapist, and now I'm also working as mental health advocacy, and I'm also stressing on advocacy for the autism. So today the topic of our discussion is mental health problem, emotional problems, and the problem a mother or a parent is facing while having a child with special need, different need, additional needs. So today I invited a guest and she will join me very soon, Veronica, and she's also known as the Autism Lady. And let's see, the moment she joined me, we will start our discussion, and I'm very thankful that she agreed on coming on my live session and joining me. Let's see when she. So there's a lot of issues which I think we need to address, and one thing is that which I always feel that whenever you talk to a mother who come to you for the treatment of their child, they're also having some form of guilt feeling that she's not being able to provide important support, or you could say as essential, the therapies or emotional support in any way to her child. That's why her child is suffering from that condition. And I was working with one month before, a mother came to me. That was actually a couple not able to communicate with our child. That's why the child developed a condition which is the child with the condition with autism, and the child is not able to talk because we lent the mobile in the hand of the child and he was using all the time mobile. And okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcus, for coming. Do you want to join? Because I asked Autism Lady to come and to talk to me, but I think she is in the middle of coming. So should I take you online maybe for a minute or so? Okay, by the way, thank you so much for coming. So the thing is that the mother think that they are not able to understand the needs of the child on the time when she was supposed to give the time to the child. So there's a lot of things which we could talk about, but I would like to take the perspective of the mother who is actually in the process, and I'm waiting for her. Hope she join me soon. And meanwhile, Marcus Alboy joined me, and he is autism advocate, and he's doing self-advocacy, and we are going to do something very important in coming days, and we will share the details very soon. And I'm waiting for the guest. Okay, so the mother said that another mother came to me and she said that she was doing job and her husband was also doing job, and nowadays if both parents are not working, then they cannot able to you could say, because therapy are expensive. So if you want a child to get a good education, because therapy is an additional thing, and if you want to get good therapy for your child, then you need to have something, you could say some amount for that. I mean, I'm talking about the financial burden a parent would have, because there are a lot of places. I'm not talking about states, US or other countries. There's still a lot of areas where we don't have social services. So you have to pay for the children therapies from your own, from your own earning. And definitely these parents are worrying because it's a long process. And in between, let me see. So basically it's a long process, and parent always wait that how they are going to pay for the therapy. So both parents were working, and she said that that child was in okay, let me just check on the, let me try to okay. So she said that her child is with her grandmother, and we both were working, and the child was not watching us. I mean, we came to home at maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. At that time, we just take the child to the home and we just sleep. So we don't have the time to talk to the child, to communicate the child. That's why the child was not able to understand us or recognize us as his parents, and he was not giving us response. I'm specific over here. I'm talking about autism and other activities. Let somebody join me. So they said that that's the reason the child is not able to communicate us, and the child is not communicating us because maybe he is inside feeling bad about us. The child is angry to us. So these are different circumstances which might not be true, because parents think that they are not able to they're not able to communicate with the parents and with their children. That's why the child is having condition with autism, and maybe not just autism, other special needs as well. So these are the conditions. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's inborn, sometimes the child is born with that, sometimes a child gets some kind of disorder, some disease, and which result in different kind of disability disorder. So it's not always about the environmental factor. It's not always about the factors that you're not able to take care of your child, or you're not able to give enough enough time to the child, or family is not communicating with the child. These things are happening everywhere, and the child will develop that condition. Either the child is able to the child the child will you can say he will develop that condition. Either you give your time to the child, you're spending a lot of time with the child, because maybe these are genetic things, and maybe because the causes of these conditions, a lot of conditions are still not known. I'm specifically talking about autism over here, because today I contacted because I invited the mother, and I'm still waiting for her. Where are you, autism lady? I would request you to come, please. And I'm not able to develop a connection. Maybe I'll try to check my laptop. Okay, so the one thing which I would like to mention is the financial burden. Okay, I talk about it later, because therapy is expensive. The other things which you could say is the amount of time a parent need to give to the child, because she have to be present, or she or he, I mean parent, if it's a mother or a father, they have to be present with the child all the time to take it to take the child to the hospital, and to the other, if the child is having some other kind of related condition, maybe some medical condition as well. So the parent need to be present with the child. So there always be a person who who is bound to that child. And I'm saying this because in the morning a father came to me, and he said that I said that why you came so early, and he said that I came early because the administration said that you need to take child early, because of we have this month of Ramzan, and we cannot take care of or we have a lot of children, and sometimes because of the therapist starts fasting, so they cannot give enough time to the child. So he said that it's my duty all the time. I have to stay bound with that child, and I have to take care of that child all the time, and I cannot do anything else, because I am all the time bound to that child, and I have to bring him to the therapy. And today I was discussing the fact with my mother, and I was discussing actually a case, and in that case the girl, that was about a girl, they're very girl, and she was autistic. The thing was that when the girl born, the mother got a condition which is called postpartum depression, and in that depression, most of the time, or sometimes, the mother don't want to see the child, and she don't even touch the child, and she don't there could be any reason. It could be hormonal balance, it could be neurotransmitter balance in the mind when the child was born. So she was having this kind of condition, and she said that this is not my daughter, I don't want to touch that daughter, kindly take away that daughter from me. And she was saying this because of her mental health condition. So after 1 year, she left that daughter, and she just she said that I want to pursue my career and don't want to stay in that relationship. So she left that relationship, and she left that daughter as well. And the thing was that the father was he was feeling very you could say emotionally devastated, and he was in the depression as well. So whenever we talk to that parent or talk to that father, he would always say, I cannot do anything just because of that girl. And the irony was that they were not having a lot of family. They were only two. The extended family was very limited. Only grandmother was at home, mother was not there. The father have only one sister, and she was having no children at that time. So they were very limited family, and nobody was taking care of that girl at home. issue occurred when that the aunt have a child, and she just left that girl because of her own child. Maybe she was not doing intentionally, but when you have a baby at home and who is neonate and very small baby, you have to take care of that child extra. So that girl was feeling a lot of emotional, she was so emotional, and she felt that thing that now I'm and nobody's and I'm alone. And her grandmother was also taking care of her, but she was also ill. So the father came back. So whenever you talk to the father, he would always say, basically the father was not doing anything. He was just because of his depression. He has, his occupation was disturbed, his personal life was disturbed, his socialization, communication, everything was disturbed. Whenever we ask that person, the face-to-face communicated with him, or our, colleague ask him how you are doing, so he would say, I was doing good enough. I just established a new office, and I spent a lot of money, I invest a lot of money, but just because of this girl, I'm not able to do something. And you cannot blame the parent over here, because the parent is also suffering from depression. And if you may understand the condition depression, it's a kind of disorder in which the child, the person, lose interest in every kind of activity. So it's a constant burden on the parent. And I have seen a lot of parents, they are tearful in front of me whenever they say that they cannot they're always thinking about their children. What will happen to our child if you will go? That is a constant burden on their mind, and they are all the time advocating their child for that as well, that the child get good healthcare system, the child get good therapy, or at least the child get independent, so that he can take care of himself as well and somehow manage himself independently. So over here the problem. Okay, I'm back, and I'm still waiting for my guest. Let me check on her. Okay, I'm back. I'm still waiting for my guest, and she said that. Okay, I thought she had some confusion. And okay, so I was talking about that girl. I hope my guest arrives soon. The autism lady, I'm waiting for you. Please come and join me. Okay, so I was discussing about that. I'm adding something, and I think there's somehow problem with the. Hello,
Okay, hold on.
the autism lady. I was waiting for you.
I know I was trying to get to you.
Okay, so how are you? How was your day?
Busy.
Okay.
And I feel like
How Alexander is doing? I think you're doing
Alexander, good. He's doing good. Alexander, come here.
Yes. Say hi to your, family. That Mama
Yeah.
family.
Alexander. He sounds like he has the TV up very loud. Hold on one sec.
It's okay. I know he will come. He'll take his time. But he will come eventually. Like always. He makes sure that he say hi to me always. No matter how his mood is.
Yeah. Come on. Tell her. Say hi. Hi. He's like a
I actually like his shirt. Hope is written on his shirt.
Hope, yeah.
Yeah, hope is written on his shirt. Okay. So
how's it going with you today?
Actually, I was waiting for you and discuss a lot of aspects, and I mentioned some cases because today we are talking about the stress and the emotional needs of a mother or a parent who have a child with special needs. So I know this is a very touchy topic, and
Right.
I was mentioning again and again that a mother or a parent who could tell you more, because who is having a child and who have that constant struggle and went a lot of things as, and there's a lot of challenges. It's not just about the challenge, it's not just about the therapy for the child, but there are other things as well. So I would like you to tell me what are the challenges you are facing, and what challenges you faced when he was a child, and now what are the challenges, because with time challenges gets tough because the needs are different as well with the passage of time. So please tell me.
Okay. The initial challenges when Alexander was a child was just the stigma from family and friends of what it means to have a disability, a mental disability, developmental delay.
Okay.
And there's a huge stigma within a lot of the African American culture, especially in my family. If anything was different or weird about you, you were bullied and made fun of in the family, by family. So the biggest thing with that was I had to make a choice to pull away from family so that my son didn't have to go through what I went through by being bullied by family. As an adult, Alexander's an adult now. He's 28 years old. He'll be 29 in August. The ongoing problem that brings challenges and functional depression for myself is the ongoing challenges and struggles to get appropriate support and services from our government agencies and service providers that are funded with taxpayer dollars. Their bottom line outweighs any measure of truly supporting those with disabilities. So that's a challenge, ongoing.
Okay. Because you talk about
And it can be very.
yeah, you're right. And you know the irony is that in our where I'm living, you know that I'm from Pakistan. Over here, there's no such system, no sort of social service system. And before you come, I was talking about the financial burden of the family to bear these expenses. And there are a lot of problems, but financial aspect is one thing that they are not able to. And you know, the problem is not about the therapy over here. The problem is the other systems and other consequences, or I would say that, like just like you mentioned that the child was that you have to isolate the child from the family. So that is a big challenge because you might remember that in one of our discussion, I told you that mothers are so afraid to talk to the family that their child have some kind of issue because there is stigma attached to that thing, and that will remain. And you know, a lot of families and a lot of parents are talking about the thing that just because of the child, they're not going to other social events, they're not going to marriage functions, they're not going to birthday parties, even they're not invited in birthday parties as well, because because the child start feeling overwhelming sensation, and the child is maybe afraid of a lot of loud noises, and he start having meltdown. So there are a lot of things which the mother need to be prepared of. So mother could understand, maybe family could understand that, but you know, one mother asked me, and you know what I said to her: if your child is not welcome at any place, then you're not, why are you keeping these people in your family life? I mean, if your child is not welcome, it means you're not welcome at that house as well. So I don't think so. What is the need to go to that house and without your child and all the time thinking about a child, what is going to do, how you're going to feed that child? So it's better you just make another circle, or you just go and find some other activity for your child. And you know, there's always place for you, there's always place for your child, but you know, you need to find that place. So tell me, you're still with your family, you still meet your family, or you just totally cut off with them, or you meet to them occasionally with the family?
I don't deal with my family at all. I don't deal with my family at all, and I haven't for quite some time. As far as individuals that are outside of my family that try to recruit me or try to have some type of platform with me, I am very explicit when I say in my speech that if my son is not accepted, then I'm not accepted. And ironically, there was someone that just recently did an interview with me on last week, and the person wants me to host her next motivational presentation or motivational engagement. And but today she sent me a messenger that she pretty much was telling me not to bring my son, that I couldn't bring my son. And I politely told her in a message that it is mine and Alexander's choice as to whether or not he attends an event. So if a person is already telling me to disregard my child, and you know that my platform is autism and advocating for inclusion and acceptance, and then you tell me to disregard my child when I come back, I won't be back. So I had to politely decline working with that person.
And maybe that event is about advocating these children, about inclusion. But I don't know, they have some policy, some agenda in, like we are discussing these issues, pressing issues from, from a couple of days, that we don't understand that a meeting is held for the autism, a meeting is held for the family, a meeting is held for the inclusion, and these children are not in that meeting. And I have seen, I have seen Alexander, he is very quiet child. I mean, when he's in the social, I have seen him in the last meeting, and he just stay quiet. He just sit at some place, and he's not any kind of fuss at that place. I mean, you can feel that he's happy or not, but he's not, bothering.
Well, and at this particular event that I spoke at initially, he was stimming, but I explained that to the audience, and I also explained it in my speech about the characteristics of my son's disability, and the audience was very receptive, and they understood, and I thought that this host and professional that invited me understood as well. But she showed her true colors to me today in an inbox, and I just politely said, that's not your choice to make, but if you don't want him there, you can't have me there. So
suppose if you're even having some kind of a support group. So support group is, if it's about inclusion, if it's about even advocacy, or if it's about therapy, if it's about a mother sharing his burden with other people. So if these children are not included, then how is a support group? Where you will keep these children? Have you seen the short video of the Marcus? If you have seen that one, I have given, I have given my review as well. He requested me to post that review in the YouTube channel as well. I told him that I will do it, but the thing is that if you've seen that video, the mother and father is all the time fighting over where we are going to take that child. And in that video, there's a lady, and they ask him to keep that child, and she said that I'm not going to keep somebody's child. So these are the constant struggle going on. Parents are with this struggle, and when you communicate with such people, then it's more kind of they are increasing your burden. Actually, they're not sharing the burden. Even if it's so-called support group, they are not sharing. They're giving you a constant reminder that there is some problem and something is different from society, something is different from that school, or that area, or maybe that agenda.
What they're trying to do is force their agenda on you. And I won't have someone else's agenda forced on me and my son. My goal is for Alexander to know that I love him, that I support him, and that I want to make sure that he feels safe. And after that, everything else comes second to Alexander's safety and his well-being. So if he's not included, how can he feel safe? And how can I feel safe? Because you're not just discriminating against him, you're discriminating against me because I have a disabled child.
So that's why parents call it special need parents. That's the thing. Why we call them special need? Because it's a part of their personality. The child is part of a parent personality. So a parent cannot, no matter how strict the parent is, or maybe angry or stuff like that, but at the end of the day, whether it's a mother or the father, she's going to keep that child with. I don't say there could be exceptional as well. You never know what kind of family, because what I feel for those people who don't take care of their child, or who feel the child. I think these people are in need. They need support. Actually, they're in the denial. Why they're in the denial? Because they might have some unmet needs in their childhood. The trauma runs in the family. Why they say this? Because there's always unmet childhood needs which they are facing now. So I think we should help these individuals as well, so that they accept their child. you know. And I think it could be done when you start talking about these things, and when when they feel like there is a support group, then there's a place where they can talk about their problem, when they can talk about their denial, and when they can talk about their own unmet need, because everybody have issues. It's not about child, it's about the mother as well, because she have to I sometime mother told me that father even told me that they're awakened all the night just because of that child, because the cycle is different of the sleep cycle. So at 5 o'clock the father say, I'm awake with that child, and he want me to be playing with him and basketball and stuff like that. So one parent have to be with that child all the time so that he can take care of that child. And there are a lot of things as well. But the thing is that whenever they feel that they find a place to talk about, like you just said that you were invited, but your child was not invited. So it means that somebody's cannot, you cannot blame these people. I think they also
And
need some help. They also need some awareness.
yes, and you know what? And the thing is, this for me, I understand everything that comes my way because I've dealt with a lot in my own growing up before I had Alexander. So I get the whole discrimination, racism for whatever reason, isolating for whatever reason. However, I want people to understand me when I choose not to be a product of that discrimination, or I choose not to allow my child to have to go through that. So I'm not going to I'm not going to give a speech or take place with anything that's not, because it's a choice. I have taught my son along the years that his voice means something. So if he says he doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to go, right? Or if it's something that I need him to participate in, I will give him a contingency for participating, and then afterwards we go do whatever it is he wants to do. And he will show appropriate behavior so that he can go get fried chicken or whatever his choices are. But he's never forced the situation, and I won't allow anybody to put him in that type of predicament.
Okay. So it's sometimes the I always feel that sometimes that maybe people are saying that we are advocating, we are talking about inclusion. They still, I think they're still in the phase of denial that by themselves as well, because if they're allowing one aspect, not allowing other aspect of the thing, then they're I don't understand that they're doing some kind of big event. Help a child who have special needs, and why or you could say why you're going to and how you're going to help these children if you're not going to help them emotionally. So maybe instead I talk about maybe though these children don't need money that much. So maybe that getting the therapy as well, but all they need is support. They need love. They need to be welcome. They're not asking you much. Maybe the
Yes,
parent is not asking you. They're not asking you even to give
they
something
just
extra.
want to be accepted.
They just want to be accepted. They just want to be loved. They just want to be accepted. They just want to be the part of that place. Like it could be a ground, it could be a place, it could be a meeting place, it could be a hall or something like that. It could be you know okay, I think, let me, okay, okay, let me add again. I'm taking her again, and we was talking about okay, let's see. I think we lose her, and very soon we are going to have her in our discussion. Okay, so those who are watching, you might have listened to the discussion of a mother, and who just share a very important incident with you people, that she was invited in some place as a guest to talk about maybe the work she's doing. It could be advocacy, because she does advocacy for autism for her child, and for she's helping other mother as well. So she was invited, but then she got that message from that perspective organization that she's not supposed to take a child, and she said that I'm not going to, going to that place where my child is not welcome. And I think over there is that, and I also, mentioned this thing in my discussion, that if you feel that you're not welcome in some place, your child is not welcome, then you're doing a greater good for yourself and for the child as well, the child you are having. Okay, let me try to take her again. Hey, the autism lady, we are waiting for you again, because I hope my guest joined me again, and she was sharing her important experience. So, okay, let me add her. Okay, so we are back.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, there might be some issue with the internet, because there is no light, and when there is no light, the internet get a little bit weak over here. So even
Oh, okay.
then, we are
I was like,
crossing the barriers.
okay.
Everywhere you have your barriers. So I was just mentioning that but you were we were discussing that if you don't feel a safe space, don't feel a supportive space, and that what we are trying to do. Okay, so I would like to ask you. Okay, you said that how you're going to, what you would like to said to the mother that who have such have children with special need or different needs, how to cope up with their own stress, what they can do for that.
Well, what's helped me recently is, coming into contact with you and Marcus. But overall, you have to, what I always try to tell parents is you have to actively reach out to people with like minds that are going through similar circumstances. Like for me, I've got a couple of parents that I know kind of go through the same things with family and friends as far as trying to exclude their children. And so I always open up my heart to those parents and say, hey, if you ever want to come by, we can have a glass of wine, bring your children, bring your child, look for those kind of people, and don't be afraid to share your story, because the only way you'll find people that will support you is if you share your story, right? Is if they can see I always try to encourage parents to bring their children to events, especially when we're doing protests or rallying for advocacy and inclusion. I always tell parents, don't just come alone, bring your children so that the government can have a face with the name, a face with the insurance number that they're getting reimbursed. You want to put a picture in front of them. And so that way, I think that draws more attention to the need. If more parents did that, then it wouldn't be such a struggle to get funding in the right places.
True. Okay, I would like to share a case with you. Before you come, I just share a case with my viewers because I was waiting for you, and I mean, maybe we have some issue with the getting along. I just share a case with a girl, and I have shared that case with you as well, who was have such special issue, which was abuse issue. So why she was alone? Because her mother left her just because of having a postpartum depression, and that girl left that child. And the irony was that one aunt was taking care of her, and at that moment she don't have a child. So the moment the new child came to home, attention went to that child, and the father was all the time cursing that girl, actually, that she's I'm in the trouble just because of that girl. Okay, I was working with a child. He was 11 or 12 years old, and he was adult child, and and he was going to for very expensive therapy, and maybe he was spending 7 to 8 or 9 hours in that place. That is quite a long time to spend an hour in some special facility. So he was spending a lot of time over there, and he was he was wearing a diaper as well. So the thing was that they left that. I don't know what was the issue, but they start coming to us because the child was that when the child came to us, he was not able to sit in the chair for a minute, for a second, sorry, not a minute, for a second. The moment he will come, he will lie down. He used to lie down on the floor. Sometimes he used to lie down on the sofas and stuff like that. So all the time he was doing that. So our first challenge was to make him sit on the sofa or sit on the chair. But I used to sit with that child for 2 hours. I remember that thing. I told him, "You're not going to go anywhere. I'm going to sit with you, and you're going to sit with me." And he enjoyed that thing a lot. I'm going to sit with him. And that's how we developed his sitting span. Okay, but what the important issue? The important issue was the child was on pamper. I mean, he was wearing diaper. So one day, I don't know what was the issue, but the child take off his trouser, and what we saw that he was wearing a diaper which could be 2-3 days old diaper, and his skin we got rashes on the skin as well. Just because of that, he was telling his need. He was telling his need that you are supposed to change my, because the child dress was all the time, the child dress was dirty. So that was a need that you need to change my dress and change my diaper as well. And the thing was that the parent was dead. The child was having no parent. He was orphan, and he was coming with some driver, and they were just paying money for just and they said that we don't have that much money. We cannot pay that much money. Just telling that we are very needy people, and just take our child and do some work with him. Okay, we were working with him. One day I just and while working in institution like that, I just developed a habit of checking the child all the time, like checking his body. I mean, God forbid something happened to maybe that is because of certain reasons. Because sometimes these children cannot tell anything, so these are the victim of violence as well. They can get hurt, and anything could happen to them, and we are responsible for that thing. So I always used to check these children. So I just checked his, and he was having some kind of bruise on his hand, on his what you could say, on his leg as well. So I talked to my administration that I think something wrong is with this child. Why he is having bruise on his legs? It's not supposed to happen. And and that child he was not able to talk, but he was cry all the time, the silent cry, the silent cry, not able to express anything. The child used to cry all the time, and with passage of time, the child scream somehow, and you could say sound was coming from his mouth. But the thing was that somebody told us that was the father of other child, that the driver of that child is beating him all the time. And we start asking questions from the family why the child is having bruise on his hand. So he used to say his grandfather is hitting him, his uncle is hitting him. So we called their family, what is happening around with this child? And they said no, only the driver is able to manage that child, and he's not happy with some other person. Only he's happy with that driver. So we used to call the family, and we used to call his grandparents as well. So what happened that when we start asking questions from them, and we just change our place, so that child was not coming to us. So we start questioning again what happened to that child, because if somebody is coming to you, you're concerned for the therapy as well, that why that child is not coming. Maybe he's ill, maybe something we could do for that child. Maybe we could refer him to some good therapist.
or some good, medical practitioner as well. So they said that the child, the driver hit the car, and they said the driver saying, I'm not able to take these, I'm not going to take child to that place. So, and sometimes she would say that we cannot manage, your place is very far away. One day, my friend was very angry on that family because the child was orphan child. So that is kind of concern for us. So when she called to that family, okay.
I gotta turn the TV off. Sorry. When I was at it, the TV is loud.
Okay, so when we said that, okay, if you cannot pay, then don't pay us. Just because what we are doing, I will share with you that what we do, where we are working. We are taking these, we are adopting these children. We are just looking for that thing. If you cannot take care of your child, just give that child to us. So we will adopt that child. So we tell them, if you cannot take care of the children, we are going to adopt that child. And you know what, that aunt of that, she was, said that, how could you give you that child? We are not able to give you because we are belong to some family. We are not going to give you that child. After that, we came to know the father, when the parent died, before that death, the father had some property, 3 to 4, shops and stuff like that. And then property is the name of that boy. So the grandmother said that he is the source of income to us. How we are going to give you that child to you?
Wow.
And that is a thing
that happened.
Maybe they have given us a child. Maybe they would have given us a child. But the thing was that, according to will of the father, if something happened to that child, then all the money is going to some trust.
Yeah.
So that was the thing.
Because the money follows the child. The money follows the child. Yeah. My mother was like that.
Otherwise, they would have given the child to us. So, you can have that child and whatever you want to do. I mean, you can adopt that child, but they were not giving us that child. And the main reason was that, and they were not telling us the reality. And we will keep, because somehow I work with social, I just work as social activist and I have some background with the human rights defender as well. So, you have something in the mind already that something bad is going around, some malicious activities going around, and we get to that activity. And we said that, but we cannot. And after 1 week, we saw that child in some other institution, and they cover the face of the child. In our institution, when we used to, when I post a picture of a child, then it's with the consent of the parent. If they did not give me the consent, then I don't post a picture or the video of the child. So we used to post the picture of that child, but over there now they're not posting with the face because they might know that they identify. But we identified that child. I told my friend that that's him. That's him. Look at his shoes, look at his dress, and everything like that. And just because of our therapy, the child was able to go to some social place. He went for some picnic, and that was our work. And family was not looking at that aspect, that how much hard work we did on that child. But they were just for money thing, that we are going to get that money, and that was a good money. Just because of that child, a good amount of money is coming to them, and their whole family is running on that. It's like they're making these are some sad realities. So I just that thing came in my mind. I just wanted to share this with you, that it's not about even sometimes money. It's not about the therapy. These are some other activities which are going to creating hindrance in the therapy and stuff like that. So when you were talking about support group, and I would like you to give some little hint which you are going, which planning somehow, little hint, especially for the support group.
Well,
because you said that parents should be welcome everywhere. Let me tell you one interesting thing as well. I just read that because when we were discussing about what we are going to do, that was about turning off the camera. And interesting thing was that it was written over there, turning off the camera means inclusion, because sometimes there are a lot of people who don't want to talk, come in front of you, and maybe
inclusion also means accepting my choice.
Yes.
Accepting my choice to be on camera or not.
Yeah.
Right? That's inclusion, because you're accepting my decision. But if you want to talk about support group, in my opinion, when I'm looking for a support group, whether it's for autism advocacy, just moms, depression, and mental health concerns, But support groups are for people that there's a conglomerate of people, a multitude of people. It can be one person or it can be 100 people. But these are people that are going through similar circumstances.
Yeah.
And they just want to have an outlet where they can vent, cry, talk about what they're going through, how can they overcome it. And that group needs to be a safe place where this can be discussed. They don't want to be dictated. They don't want to be told how to live their life. They want you to listen and give a listening ear and show some understanding, show some empathy. And then as they get comfortable and their trustworthiness is there, then they may reach out and say they want advice. But you don't just throw advice, dictate how they should do their life. You want to first win their trust. In order to win a person's trust, they have to feel safe around you. And so that's what I'm wanting to do with a support group, is provide that safety net for people that are looking for trustworthiness and loyalty within the group.
And the thing is that everything comes after respect. First, you are giving them respect. Respect is very important. When you give them respect,
yes.
Respect. Which they could, and they don't even have a place to talk about. Sometimes when you start talking about yourself, oh, there's an old story. We don't have time for that. So and when you go to some place, they are talking about some dresses, they're talking about some fashion, and somebody's burning from inside and silently crying for something. So they should have a place where they can talk about these things, where they can talk about their own burden, their own pressure, their own problems, because everybody is going through something. It's not because it's a human thing.
We going
to say that it's okay to feel this way, and it's also okay to share these problems as well. It's okay to cry.
We may not be going through the same things, but everybody's going through something, and everybody is looking for someone that they can trust, that they can share that with, and not be judged. Not be criticized. And so that's where I'll add with my support.
There's something wrong. It's not about even label and stuff like that. It's about what you feel. You need to talk about that. You need to know. You need to understand how to name your feeling. This is what support could be, and this is how you can understand the problem of other people, and that's how you can become a force if you want to advocate for your child. If you're not okay, what I feel, why I think that support group is very important for the parent, because if you're not okay, how you're going to take care of your child? It's about yourself.
Exactly.
As well. First you come, then your child came. Okay, means you should be okay.
Exactly.
You have a place to talk about your problem. You have a place to take advice. You have a place to discuss what your child is going to have, what problem your child is facing. So maybe you get a good advice from that place. So support means encouragement, love, and everything like that. Okay, so okay, when you're going to have these support groups, little bit hint. Yeah, that is a price.
It's family. We want to try to spread that awareness and acceptance globally, of course.
Yeah.
And with that, it does take time to get the point across and what's needed. But at least we are on the same page of knowing, our team, Mother family, we're on the same page of knowing the importance of the acceptance and the resource needed to implement our objectives in our road going forward.
Okay, so it's a good thing. And the other thing is that I think your group is also virtually a little bit hint I'm giving. It's a virtual support group.
The support group that we were at, and that's another thing I wanted to talk about. But the support group that we were at last week that I invited you to, or that you were present, I've learned that the host of the group, that after the June meeting, that he doesn't want any more. He's just going to have in person, so no more virtual. I don't know why that is, but he did say that initially he did virtual because of the COVID, the pandemic, and so a lot of people were not able to make it, so he went virtual. But he said he thinks in July he might go back to in person. I'm going to try and continue to push for continued virtual as well, because you never know, there might be people in nearby cities or states that want to join. And if not, I'm ready to start my own thing, and with the help of my Mother family, we're going to keep moving forward in whatever we're doing.
And something I would also like to mention, maybe the person is not having financial resources to come to that place. It could be a problem as well, maybe. Because finance is a big thing, which is creating hindrance, and a lot of person is not going to take help because he don't have enough money. The child is not going to school because he don't have money, because over here we are not just talking about autism, we are talking about other issues as well. So the child could have some other medical condition, the child could not walk, suppose the mother cannot take his wheelchair to the car, and there are a lot of things which you need to think about that. So if it's virtually, then it's okay, because when you talk about global, you cannot reach, you cannot be present physically everywhere. You cannot be possible, not possible for that. So, but if you invite some, a good person, or you could say advocate who is representing their society, who is representing some good cause, and they talk to you, and you feel so good when you talk to that person. So and that's how we meet each other.
That's
we also
how
meet each other virtually. So it's
and
important
I've got a couple of people here locally that will follow me anywhere I go. So no matter what I'm doing, as long as I'm doing what I'm doing for Alexander and the whole picture, I've got some people that will follow me no matter where I'm at and what I'm doing.
So it's a good thing, you always need a support, and whenever you want to be, because it's a global problem, and you're not just like, your child is not living in one, in one city, in one area. Someday the child will go to other state or other area. Then how you're going to protect your child? Right. And how you're going to protect your own self?
Because Alexander, he's been on an airplane since he was 5 years old. And because we traveled to learn alternatives to psychotropic meds, because I never wanted to have him on medication. So my son travels to different conferences in different states with me, or different training programs we go to, and we have to fly to do that. And he makes requests to get on an airplane and go to another state. He likes going to Chicago, so I've got to make a plan this year to try to fly into Chicago. But you have to be willing to meet the need wherever the need is, right?
Yeah.
You can't just have a one path focus, because you're not gonna go as far as what you need to be if you're just focused on one small point or one small area of concern.
And the thing is that whenever when you're talking about the people, so there are a lot of people, maybe 100 people, and 100 people have different needs. So it's not just the child, because you might have seen, I'm not saying about the labels, okay, knows what you're going to do with that. There is a lot of work on therapies. There are different, multiple type of therapies you can give to your child, and it is accessible to everyone at every area. But what is not addressed, what is not being addressed, how a child is going to get independent,
right?
How we're going to generate some resources for the child, and how we're going to generate maybe some training for the child, some training for the parents. So these are some important things which we need to think about all the time, because it's the need of the society. Whenever you're doing some discussion, maybe you have very few people who came to your discussion and listen to that discussion. And when some celebrity is talking, so there are, 100 of people listening to that talk. And they
Yes.
think that, which is, their life is different from your life. You cannot relate to these people.
Right.
You cannot relate to their lives, and just because of that attention, these celebrities are also, being used. They're, they have, different brands, and they're promoting different brands. And once things go away, they're alone as well. So at the end of the day, they're human being as well. They also have need, and they also go for the therapy if they need that thing. And that is a separate discussion. But even then, I'm just saying, why people are not coming to these things and why they're not talking, because they're still afraid to talk. And they don't know.
Yeah,
they want to talk. They don't want. They don't know how to talk about it.
They don't feel
Where to
safe.
go?
They don't feel safe.
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
feel safe to express. They don't feel safe to express the need. So but you have to reach out, and it's a way you deliver your message as to whether a person is going to feel willing to open up to you. You can't have a rigid formal routine if you want people to express their emotion. If you're going to have a PowerPoint presentation telling me how to be a better me, then that's telling me you're judging me and you don't think I'm being the right kind of parent. That's not what I want to hear when I go to a support group. When I go to a support group, I want to feel welcomed in that support group. I want to feel safe, and that my child is safe, that I can be okay if my son stims and make noises and echolalia, that he's not going to be judged because he does that, and I'm not going to be judged or kicked out because he makes noises.
And the thing is that the child start doing that when he feels that he's not welcome, to be very honest.
That's true. That's true.
Therapist reflexes. Remember?
Alexander is definitely,
the child is getting negative energy.
Yes.
And even I was watching virtually. Maybe that's why people are afraid. I'm getting this vibe.
Yeah. But see, it's just that the difference in us that don't have sensory issues like autism, we know how to just say, okay, and get up and leave, walk away. Alexander, he handles it outwardly, right? So he's going to stem, hand flap, or make noises, echolalia, stem, and get on your freaking nerves because he feels the negativity. And so he's going to react, and that's his way of reacting.
Yeah. So it's good that, everybody,
and he might stand over you.
Express himself when, and, when you started talking about these things in a group, then parents start to understand their child as well.
Yes.
Who is that there is a lot of gap between the therapist and the child parent, because, you just leave your child in some school, some place, and the parents just go away. So they don't have the essential time to talk about the child. They don't have, because every child is different. And the child is person as well. And with the passage of time, the needs are different. And the parents are developing as well. Mm-hmm. The parent personality is developing with the passage of time as well. Instead of taking the negativity of, and the curse or the feeling of guilt that we are not strong enough, we are not enough for our child. But if you start talking about the mothers who are advocating for their child, okay, if it's okay if you cannot advocate about your child, you cannot go to some rally, or you cannot go to some some fancy place or stuff like that, or not some training, but even you still have a place to talk about, and you still have a place to raise your voice in a positive manner, because when anything is oppressed for a longer period of time, I'm talking about emotional regrets and emotional pain as well. So they are going to come out in a very ugly way. So just tell me, just think for a while that you are going to, deal with your own self, and you're going to deal with your child. So you need yourself as well. You need to be, it's, we all have trouble in our life. This is the reality. But if you're not okay, how you're going to advocate for your child now? How you're going to, work for your child?
Exactly.
So okay, there's anything else you want to mention? Anything else you want to talk? Because I think we talk a lot of things today, and we talked too much.
We have some good points. I think the whole idea of the inclusion and support, I think that's a huge starts at the core. It's just how we can help people to have the hope that they will be included and accepted so they can feel safe in expressing themselves with us.
Okay, so it's a good thing that you maybe in start you feel that maybe the thing is difficult, how we're going to manage a lot of people and how we're going to take a lot of people in one place, or maybe start things start doing that thing, then things start getting make sense for you, and you're always learning, you're always in the learning process. So we are looking toward that support group, and because that is the need of the time, and as it is a global thing, so anybody could be there, if he's a parent, or even I would say those who are self advocating for themselves as well, or those who are not even able to advocate for themselves, because when a child grow up, then he still have that condition. The conditions don't go anywhere. So that is the thing. So people are welcome.
You're breaking up.
Thing from Mawa family, and Marcus came in the start. The moment I turned on, he came, and I said, "Can you please come?" Whenever you come on, and he's always there. He always show his presence.
Yeah.
So that means that how for him family is very important.
Let me let Alexander say bye-bye.
Okay.
Alexander, come say bye-bye. Come on. Come on. Where you at? Come on, do it.
Wheels, woof,
There
shake.
she is.
Oh, he's so happy. From here, get this shirt, Alexander.
Let's read your shirt. Let her see. She wants to see your shirt.
Oh.
I wear
Sit right here. Sit right here.
tongue, tongue.
Okay. Alexander, our ambassador. He's our ambassador.
Yes.
Alexander,
Well,
our
I'll talk to
ambassador.
you soon, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Yes,
Our next
sure.
group. Yes.
And thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for beautifully discussing the aspect in a very lighter note, because you talk about difficult situation in a very lighter way, so that it did not
Yeah.
pinch anyone, and it's a skill, and I'm sure with passage of time you learn, and I'm sure a lot of people can learn this thing. A lot of people can learn how to let your anxiety go out by smiling, by laughing. So laughing is a therapy, and if they feel that there's
You have to
they're
find a way to
welcome at
laugh
some
about
place.
it. Yeah.
And everybody have a bad, I just don't think that we all have problems in our life. We all have. It's not respective of a therapist or a mother. We have problems, but what we have to do is we have to live for ourselves. We have to live for the community as well. So I think it's a greater good, and see you soon.
Yes.
And very soon we are going to do a lot of good things, and we are wishing for we want your well wishes, those who are watching. Okay, thank you so much. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.